Okay, so in the last video I installed an Epoch server and got it running and got in game and then logged out, showed you the RPTs, and now I'm going to show you some couple of things. When you go to epochmod.com and get ready to, you go to the forums and you start installing scripts and stuff. Some of them you're going to run into call for a custom compiles and a custom variables. They'll tell you to, put this in your custom compiles or custom variables. If you're new to servers, DayZ servers like this, you won't know what that is. What do you mean custom compiles? So if I go in here to DayZ servers, open my missions folder, MP missions, and extract my PBO to a folder, you'll see this file called Init. And in here, or it's init.sqf, in here you'll see some variables that you can toggle on and off. I just installed my Infostar admin tools, so I turned the built-in anti-hack off. But there's some other stuff, like you could turn these POIs on if you want. They're just map add-ons, and a lot of, it says that negatively impacts FPS here, but anytime you go, what you're doing is you're having to render more stuff. Just like if you're going into like Electro or Cherno, you would have to render more stuff. But you turn them. What I have tur. How about true? You turn them on, but then what does that mean? So you have down here, there's another entry for these. It says if DayZ POIs is true and the world name is Shinaris, then it's going to compile this stuff in here. Alright. So where this is pointing to is the Epoch client files here. DayZ, come on, DayZ Epoch. Move that over. DayZ Epoch, going to add-ons, and then let me get rid of that because I've already done this. But you see it says DayZ code here, so you're going to find this PBO called DayZ code, and you'll notice that these are signed PBOs. Each one of these PBOs has a digital signature on it, so you can't modify the stuff that's in DayZ Epoch client files. You have to extract it and bring it over to the mission side. Because if you try to modify what's in here and then repack the PBO and then log into a server, it's going to kick you saying the signature is invalid. So you extract it. I just right click, go to PBO manager, and then extract the DayZ code folder. Okay, so let's browse to this. This right here, the Z add-ons, that's a prefix. There's a file in here called prefix. And if you edit that, you see it gives you your prefix. Z add-ons DayZ code. And you can also do that by double-clicking on the DayZ code PBO. And in PBO Manager, you click this button here, File Properties, and there you see your prefix. It's just reading that file that says prefix, right? So let's browse here. You got DayZ code, which we just opened, System, Mission, Shinaris, and Init POI, yeah, which stands for Points of Interest, and then init.sqf. So what it's doing is it's just processing all the files that are in these SQF files. So if you look in some of these, like this is Zelenogorsk buildings, you'll see that this just adds stuff to the map. It's a hospital, an office, and some other shit. That's all each of these do. Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff here. It just adds stuff to the map. So some of the stuff is pretty cool, so I would add it. If you uh, want it on your server, I would just go over here, hit set true. And what these are called are toggleable variables. You have like quick switch is where you can switch instantly between your weapons. You can set that to true. A lot of stuff is set to false on default, but you just go through each of these and change it if you want it, if it's toggleable. DayZ nutrition system. I think a lot of server owners are setting that to false because with the building system and stuff, when you go into these animations constantly building, and you get hungry and thirsty very quickly. So you can turn it off if you want. But yeah, these are what are called overwrites. If you go into, again, DayZ code and go into Init, you'll see this file called variables.sqf. And what you're going to find is that a lot of these are actually in here. Let's find yeah, here's these presets right here. See, they just loaded, the devs just loaded custom in here, so you could change all this stuff. And if you change this, I don't think you can actually change it. If you set it to classic, then there's no else in here. You see that? So they're just the custom ones. You can change all this shit if you feel like it. There's some other stuff down here you can change. These are all just toggleable variables, and some of them have like this plot pole. Your default is 30 meters for plot pole. You can have 100-meter plot poles and set the distance in between plot poles to whatever, 500 meters in between. Limits on your building and just stuff that's in the game. And then here's your default loadout. So like, it's commented out, so you got these 2 slashes in front. So just remove that, and now that's active. There's weapons, there's backpacks. You can have items in your backpack if you want. It's by default it's just an empty array. There's nothing in there. So what you're looking at in init.sqf is typically mostly out of variables.sqf, and there's also this file here called config variables.sqf. That's new to 106 plus, and a lot of this stuff came from the DayZ vanilla mod, and it's turned off by default because it's pretty grindy, having your knife dull while you're cutting stuff, and the matchbox count. You got 5 sticks in a matchbook, and each time you use it, it drops 1. That's that's stuff from DayZ vanilla that you can use if you want. It's custom configured stuff. There's group system, and none of that stuff was in Init, by the way. None of this stuff here is in here by default. I don't think any of this stuff is. Maybe a little bit. I'm not sure. Don't think so. But if you want to change it, let's say up here you're looking at, okay, DayZ UI. If I go in here, you see how this over here, this is the vanilla UI, and you can change it to the Epoch one just by overwriting. So you grab this variable out of here, out of this file, put it in Init, pretty much anywhere in here. You would have game settings, Epoch, config variable. You could, it doesn't really, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could set it up here, and then change this to Epoch. And now when I load the game, my UI will change to Epoch, the old Epoch one. Okay, so this being said, and what else is there? Is there? Let's see. You could add stuff to your default loadout and whatnot. But this being said, there's a concept called custom variables and custom compiles, and it's the same kind of thing. You're gonna create this. A lot of these scripts on Epoch mod will call for custom variables or custom compiles, and you're just going to make one. So if you look in here, in DayZ code folder, there's another folder called Init, and then of course you've got your variables.sqf and your compiles.sqf there. So what we're going to do is recreate this on in the mission PBO, because we want to overwrite stuff that's in the Epoch files that we can't modify, but we can extract it and redirect and overwrite. So I'm going to go new folder here, and this is kind of just a best practice thing where you name it the same as, you know, on mission side that what's in here. So I extracted this DayZ code PBO into this DayZ code folder, so I'm just making a DayZ code folder here. I'm going to open that, open this one, and look in here. There's a file called, or a folder called Init, so I'm going to make that over here. Init, you know, open that, open this one, and then I want to have a custom compiles and a custom variables for my overwrites. So let's open the variables, and I'm going to go new, file, new, and let's move it over to the other view. You'll notice in here that a lot of these variables are not in any certain, they're not run by the server run, they're just like global. But there is a section in here that says if is server, where is it at? It's in here. Yeah, here's a section called if is server. Then, you know, that's what these variables go to. These are used by the server, not by the client. So you could, you know, recreate that. Just leave some blank spots up there for these variables up here if you're going to overwrite. You know, put that in there. That, you know. So if you're going to add stuff to here, or if you're going to overwrite these, see, this is if is nil, use epoch events equals false. I think in the init file it's set to false as well. Dynamic debris was set to 500. You don't have to do it that way, I guess. I don't think it does it in init like that either, but I'm just recreating what's there. And then there's an if is not dedicated section. Those are variables that are executed exclusively in the client side. Oh, what did I just do? Edit, undo that. I gotta copy this and paste it over here. Yeah, right there. So then I'm going to make another bracket, and I'm going to semicolon to close or to end it. So let's say you wanted to overwrite these temperature variables, but you can't do it in here because you can't change them in here because they're in a protected PBO. So you could overwrite them, bring them over to the mission side, and you're going to have them like that. And then you just change these numbers if you want, and that will overwrite these ones. But I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to overwrite them. So you can have it like this. You can technically don't need any of this shit. You can just leave it blank. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as variables.sqf. SQF. And let's just put it on the desktop for now and save it. So now you have a empty variables.sqf that you can call custom, and it's going to be in this init folder. So if you get on epochmod.com and you go to the script section, and you know, in the forums in the A2 section, and it says put this in your custom variables. Well, that's what this is. That's just referring to this. It's just a variables.sqf that's on the mission side that will overwrite stuff that's in here or add new stuff depending on what the script is. You can do the same thing with compiles. Let's just go do that again. New, and move this over. You'll notice there's an fis server here, so you can recreate this. If you're going to overwrite one of these, so let's say you have set fix server, whatever this is, vehicle set fix server. Let's say you have a script that you want to modify this particular file, and you can't do it obviously in the Epoch in the client files because it's a protected PBO. DayZ code is protected. So you're gonna modify the file and put it on the mission side, and then you're gonna redirect. You know, you're gonna wherever it says compile. What does it say? Compiles. So yeah. So you're just gonna change the directory, and when you load this custom compiles, it will overwrite this. This is a it's called as a function really, but you'll make let me do this real quick. This is kind of difficult to explain without actually installing scripts. So in DayZ code, I got init, and then there's going to be a folder called compile, and it's going to have this shit in there. So you just make a new folder called compile and put that shit in there. But you know, I'm not going to overwrite that file because I haven't made any changes to it. But that's just what you would do if you were going to have an overwrite. You would put it in your custom compiles, right? And then there's a is not dedicated section, so that's going to go in your that would be executed by the client, not by the server. So if you were to overwrite one of these files like that, this is actually pretty common, especially self actions. You'll see this when I install ZSC, that there's going to be a section where FN self actions is in here, and then this is going to be like that, and there's going to be that compile folder on the mission side, and it will have this file inside of it, the modded file. And it's just, this is just simply to overwrite. So you could leave it like this, or you could leave it blank, or you know, with these dedicated sections in here. When I install ZSC, you'll notice that these are already set up. So if you want single currency, that's the easy way. Otherwise, there's other scripts that will have it as well. But I just want to make you aware that that is what a custom compiles and custom variables is. It's overwrites and additions. When they say put this in your custom variables, that's what they're talking about. So what am I doing? Save, and this is going to be compiles .sqf, and that I'll just put desktop, save it, close that. See, it's an empty file. You could have an empty file. It's not going to do anything. Yeah, move here. Okay, so that's how you set up a variables.sqf or a custom variables and a custom compiles. That's it. You just recreate what's over in the Epoch client folders or client files. You know, extract the PBO, go to DayZ code, go to Init. There's your compiles, there's your variables. Now, let's do something with that so it's just not, just sitting there. In that init.sqf, I said you could change some stuff. You could, edit. You can also put them in variables instead. You don't have to put them in init. You can put them in variables, or in your custom variables. The only reason why that stuff is in init.sqf is because there is no custom variables by default. It just they put the most popular stuff in the init that server owners would wanna change. But if you wanted to overwrite some stuff, let's go into here. This is new. This config variables. Well, first of all, let me show you how to call these. Is if they're just sitting there, they're not doing anything, right? You got to go into init.sqf and compile them. So if you go into init.sqf, you scroll down a bit, you're going to see, here's where that config variables is being included. Way up here at the top. So, okay, that's there. And then here is variables.sqf right here. And what I'm going to do, if I want to have my custom variables compiled, then I'm going to copy this line. I'm going to enter and I'm going to paste it there, but it's not in the server PBO anymore. It's DayZ code PBO. So you don't need the PBO prefix. You just need DayZ code because now we're in the mission PBO and this file is in the same directory as this. So you just need to call this folder init, which is there, and then variables.sqf. And what will happen here, the engine reads this file top to bottom. So what it's going to do is it's going to process all of these files, process this, compile these variables, and then it's going to compile these variables after it. So if you have the same variable name and change the value, that's what it's doing here. Whoop, how do I get this to, oh, here we go. I already have it open, duh. That's what it's doing here. So let's find this one. Okay, so if I go into init variables.sqf and I'm going to find this one. Oh, where is that one? It's not in there. Is it in the new one? Maybe it's in the new one. Let's find another one. Slow zombies, where's that at? Is that in here? Yeah, so that's there. I don't know where the wait one is. That must be in a different file. It's a variable that's toggleable still. You can change it. Maybe it's in the new one. I'll check it later. But you see here, DZE slow zombies. So it's set to false here by default, and it's also set false here, but you could change it to true. You could have slow Zs if you wanted. With player Z, I think that should be changed to false. I don't want to, when I die of an infection, I don't want to be a zombie. So I'm going to change that to false. So where is this wait one? I think that's in a custom file or something like that. Let's check and see if it's in the config one. I don't think it is though. Maybe. No, it's in another file. I'm not sure which one it's in though. But it is a global variable, right? You can use it anywhere. Actually, I wanted this to be false as well. What this is caps. This weight thing is if you have too much weight on you, you get overburdened. You know, you get stuck in a well, just a slow walk or something like that now. It used to be you'd keel over and start screaming, but they've changed it. Static construction, that's a big one. A lot of people like, I think 0 just sets it to the default 3. I'm going to set it to 1. Let's save that. So my variables.sqf, that's custom now. Let me go to this config variables.sqf, and I'm going to do some overwrites. There's some stuff in here that I might want to have. So you remember here, I put this DZE underscore UI in init.sqf. Well, if I have a custom variables, I can put it in there too. Right? I could put it in there. I don't have to put it in init. In fact, none of this shit has to be in init either. It can be in the custom variables. But I'm going to leave it there. What else could we change? There's a lot of stuff in here. Just read the comments on there. There's death messages, custom death messages and shit. You've got, this is where the, when I install ZSC, you're going to see this variable, which is in config variables.sqf, will be pulled over to the custom variables and switched to true. And let's see, group system. This is kind of a cool one. It's set to false by default, so this has to be an override. You could put this in init, but I'm going to put it in my custom variables. And I'm going to set it to true. What else can I do? Okay, the mark group is set to always, so that doesn't need to be changed. I could copy these over there, but there's no reason to copy that over because it's already set to what I want. Mark self, this is where players can see themselves on the map. That's set to off. And this mark body is set to off. But I'd like to see my body if I die. So I'm going to pull this DayZ mark self over, and I'm going to change it to a 1. That would be always being able to see your map marker, self map marker. And there's mark body. I want to see my corpse when I die. So I'm going to put that to 1. What else? Let's see. Most of this other stuff is kind of default. I mean, it's cool. Just read through them. Check the comments there. Change them if you want. But be aware of these files. If they're, DayZ Epoch client files, they got that new config variables, which is what I'm looking at now. You can change a lot of stuff in there by either pulling it over to init, or if you build a custom variables.sqf, you could pull it in there. I think that's good for right now. If I wanted to, just to demonstrate this, I could move that over here. As long as it's being overwritten, that's all it cares about. Let's save this. Actually, let me give myself a map, because I don't know what map. Item. Go into configs, go into server traders, category, what is it, tool belt, items, yeah. Item map right here. I want to give myself that. Be careful with this stuff. Yeah, I want that, and that. This SQF highlighter is pretty cool because you see how it's changing this stuff. When it's right, it looks correct. When it's wrong, it doesn't look right. Okay. So I just gave myself a map, and map is a tool belt item, so it's a weapon. And I'm going to leave that other shit straight. Let me go ahead and save that, close it, and I'll save this, close it. And let's do a recap here real quick. So I went into MP missions, extracted my PBO, and based on when I went into the DayZ Epoch client files, I went into DayZ code, extracted it, and recreated those directories. A lot of your scripts that you'll see do this, some don't. Some use like a folder called custom, and they just put everything in there. That's not wrong. It's just that, this is just being established as, kind of best practice, right? This follows the file structure of the Epoch client files. So DayZ code, Init, and you got your custom compiles, which is empty at this time because we haven't installed any scripts. And then you've got custom variables.sqf, and I have some overwrites in here. I've got a default loadout now. The group system is turned on. I've changed the UI to Epoch. And mark self, mark body, corpse marker, I guess that's called. And in here, init.sqf, the main thing I did here was I am compiling them here. After you compile the ones in the Epoch client folders. So this stuff here will overwrite this stuff here. And did I do this one? I don't think I did this one, did I? Let me do this one. So this is the compile. So same concept as here. You're going to put it below and get rid of the PBO prefix because we're just looking at the mission side in this DayZ code init folder. Right? There it is. So I think that's good. Yeah, I think we're good there. Let's go in game and have us a look here. Got to repack the PBO. So if you're gonna make a lot of changes like that, and you want to make a backup folder somewhere for your PBOs, and just this is the good one, right? And this is the one we modified, so we're gonna pack that as new, and we have our backup in here. And let's start the server. And you should see this change. You see how this is the vanilla UI. There's my server up there. Let's log in and see what happened. Are we stuck? What happened? Player Jason kicked off BattleEye script restriction 7. Why didn't it say that? Script restriction 7. Well, here's a mini tutorial on BattleEye. Kicked off. Alright, let's see what happened. So, BattlEye, when you get these errors like this, it'd be nice if it actually told me here, but it's not. Go into the instant, let me go ahead and shut this server down because this isn't doing it. Well, script restriction number 7. Close it. Go into BattlEye folder, script here. Let's look at the log. Here you see right here, number 7. What is this? I got kicked for chords? Oh, you know what I got kicked for? Creating those POIs. Motherfucker, really? Hold on. So I guess you can't turn on POIs if you have Infostar turned on. What's number 7 is number 9. What is this? Box kick? The way this is when it says number 7, it starts counting, and it starts counting at 2. There's no 0 and 1 doesn't have anything in there, so it starts counting at 2. So just whatever it says 7, just add 2, so 7 equals 9. Why the fuck is it kicking me for this? That's some bullshit, man. He needs to work on his filters. Okay, so let's go and turn the POIs off, I guess, until I can fix those goddamn filters. I don't want to do it today. Let's see. Init. So it was POIs. It was false. Fucking hell. Delete this. Because it happened on I'm the only one logging into the server, right? So the first one that logs into the server, this stuff is getting run, the POIs are getting run by me. So it kicked me, and it would kick everybody else who was trying to run it as well. So let's see if that fixed it. I'm pretty sure that was it, but you never know. I should have stuck with the default BattlEye filters, but I wanted to be able to teleport to Starry and shit like that. I want to be able to move around with the admin tools, so I installed them. Yeah, there it is. Script restriction 7. You can't create POIs, you fuck. Fuck you. I think the stock BattlEye filters don't do that. In fact, I'm pretty certain they don't. Let's see if I can get logged in this time. There we go. So, Infostar's BattlEye filters don't allow you to install those POIs. You could probably just get rid of that line that said box. But if you're not using Infostar, don't worry about it. I just got to go, So you can see though, look at the UI has changed. You see that? Let me get a better, yeah, you see it? Okay, that's the Epoch UI. So we got that. Now the other thing, I have a GPS because I have admin tools, and I would, when you turn it on and hit the markers, it gives you one. Let's see. I want to hit M, I guess, and you can see that there's my marker for the group system. So that's working. Let's see if the default loadout and my corpse marker works. So let's go have a zombie kick my ass. I don't like using Infestar's suicide or kill because it gives double kill messages, and I think it causes errors in the RPT. I'm not real sure, but I know it doesn't work right. Still waiting on it. Hi. I'm right here, bud. Where you going? Thank you. I'm in the middle of Cherno getting like 70 frames, man. It's nice. Well, 67 right there, 60. That's nice for, but that's a fresh install, right? No scripts. You start adding scripts and shit to it, causes FPS drops. Okay, so let me log back in then, and we'll see about our default loadout and our corpse marker. So there's the default loadout that I set. Put in my custom variables. Should have a map, yeah, that I added. Okay. So if I click M, I should see my corpse marker now. And there it is. RIP. So that's like the bare bones way how to change your server settings. Do some Init modding, they call it. How to create custom variables, how to create a custom compiles. And let me log out. And let me do a little recap for you, I guess. Shut the server down. So again, we made a custom compiles and a custom variables.sqf. Followed the file structure of the DayZ code PBO, and I moved these from init.sqf into here just to show that you could do that. It's just overwrites. You can, as long as you're overwriting, you can put them in here. And then I added a map, I guess. Changed the UI to Epoch, turned the group system on, and added the markers for a live player and a corpse. And when you install scripts and it says put this in your variables, custom variables, that's where they go. Put it in your custom compiles. There's a blank one. They'll go in there. Usually there's going to be a scripts folder too. At least ZSC has one. I think a lot of the other scripts have one too. And then of course in init.sqf, changing some of these toggleable variables. Couldn't turn on POIs because, Infestar. Need to update the BattleEye filters. And then here is where you call your custom compiles and your custom variables and your custom compiles. And I'm going to install Zupa single currency, the one that was updated by Salival in the next video, and you will see exactly what I did here. There's a custom compiles, custom variables, and we can populate some stuff in compiles. But that's all there really is to this video, just to show you how to do some customizations to your server before you do any editing with custom scripts. But anyway, whenever you do anything to your server, make sure you log into it and check for error messages. You know, I don't see any in here. This is really where it starts. And this server RPT is still clean, no errors. Oh, this is for the anti-hack. Yeah, there's nothing in there. And then check your client. Where is that again? It's in C. No, what? Maybe it's in here? Hold on. Still new to this shit, man. Yeah, there it is. This Windows 10, I'm still kind of new to it. So, street sign not found, of course. Cannot create non-AI vehicle. Tall grass. Those are just bullshit errors. You know. Clearing annoying benches. You know, there's no errors in here. Here's when a zombie kicked my ass. Yeah. We're still good and error-free so far. No groups. Some of these goofy errors, some of these like messages, they're not errors, they're just like warnings and shit. Okay. Good there. That's all there is to this video, though. I guess I'm gonna follow up with install of Zupa single currency, and then if there's other shit people want, you know, we'll do that. I'll do an overpock. Yeah, I'll do an overpock vid, and that's it for now, though.